Hello there, Steve-Os, and welcome along to this week's episode of Steve's Movie Wrap-Up right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. As you can tell, the Christmas jumper is out and in full force as well. And also as well, there's been a couple of Christmas films that I have watched this week as well to mark the occasion of the Christmas jumper. We'll get into that a little bit later on in this week's episode of the Movie Wrap-Up. But first though, it's time for me to reveal the movies I've been watching this week, talk about the movies I've been watching this week, and of course, as always, the intro. So without further ado, roll them titles. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 56, right here on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is The Drive-Away Dolls. So, Drive-Away Dolls, and I gave that 3 stars over on Letterboxd. Jamie regrets her breakup with her girlfriend while Marion needs to relax. In search of a fresh start, they embark on an unexpected road trip to Tallahassee. Things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals. The film follows Jamie, an uninhibited free spirit, bemoaning yet another breakup with a girlfriend and her demure friend Marion, who desperately needs to loosen up. In search of a fresh start, the two embark on an impromptu road trip to Tallahassee, but things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals along the way. Philadelphia, 1999. Fresh out of an ugly breakup, Jamie convinces Marion, her uptight best friend, to tag along on a long road trip to sunny Tallahassee, Florida, to visit Aunt Ellis. After picking up a basic Dodge Arise from a car rental service, the two drive-away dolls zoom off south, unaware they've been given the wrong car, but that's the least of their worries. A pair of criminals hot on their heels, and the trunk's unsavory content is another story. The Drive-Away Dolls comes with such a short running time, with a total running time clocking in at just 1 hour and 20 minutes, so it's an easy watch movie. The Drive-Away Dolls also comes under the comedy crime genre, and I will be honest here, there are some scenes in this that I found absolutely funny and hilarious, especially at the beginning of the movie. The Drive-Away Dolls is a movie that stars Margaret Qualley, Beanie Feldstein, and also stars Geraldine Viswanathan, and I must say that their performances in this were absolutely brilliant. I do think the comedy in this is really good as well, with some laugh out loud moments for viewers to enjoy during the 1 hour and 20 minute running time. The movie is directed by Ethan Coen, and while the movie is sex positive, and most of the comedy in this movie is also sex orientated as well, but I can't help but notice the transitions in this movie were rather silly. I have seen it being pointed out in some Letterboxd reviews, and I do agree with other users on Letterboxd about this, but the transitions kind of feel like the same transitions you would use in a Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. The movie doesn't really tend to take itself too seriously. It knows that it wants to be a comedy, and I do think it does succeed in being that as well, but that all depends what you find is funny, especially when most of the comedy, as already mentioned in this review, is sex orientated. This is actually the third film I have seen Qualley in this year, with the first being Poor Things, but I feel as though with Poor Things she was only in that for a brief period of time, as I couldn't quite comment as such on her performance in that. But the second movie I saw Qualley in this year was The Substance, which is one of my favourite movies of 2024 so far, and I must say I was really captivated by her performance in The Substance. She was really good in this movie as well, proving that she can do comedy really well and does tie into comedy really well. Beanie Feldstein, I just knew was going to smash it out of the park, as I have seen her in other comedies before, like Booksmart, for example, which released back in 2020. 2019, so I had no worries about her performance in this again. I found her character to be rather funny as well. Is The Drive Away Dolls a movie I would recommend people to watch? Most certainly, despite the transitions in this that I have gave negative feedback about, I still find this a really good time, a decent watch, and with the short running time, it told the story that it needed to tell, and I don't think it needed to be any longer than it was. As long as you can put up with a lot of sex jokes within the running time, and if you find that this movie a lot of fun with some comedic elements to the movie, then sure, I would say give this one a go. And is this a movie I can see me revisiting and rewatching again someday? I do reckon so. I have seen this through streaming service Now TV here in the UK, so I can see me buying and keeping this movie on digital when I do decide to leave Now TV, as I'm only using the service for a short period of time. So I am satisfied that I have seen this movie now, and I'll be happy to get this movie on digital at some point in the near future. But The Drive Away Dolls is streaming on Now TV here in the UK, and is also available to buy and rent on digital platforms as well.
The Exorcism.
The Exorcism, I gave 1.5 stars over on Letterboxd. A troubled actor begins to unravel while shooting a horror film. His estranged daughter wonders if he's slipping back into his past addictions or if there's something more sinister at play. What I love about The Exorcism 2024 is if you search for it on Google, it will come up to explain what it is in a nutshell, which is suspenseful, horrific, and sinister. Now, did I find this movie to be rather sinister? I didn't. Did I find the movie to be rather horrific? By any means? No, I didn't. And did I find this movie to be sinister in any way? Again, it's debatable. But I didn't really find hardly any of the scenes to be sinister to the point it would horrify me in any way. The Exorcism is a horror movie that was released earlier this year and only had a very limited theatrical run, which I did unfortunately miss out on, but as it's now streaming over on digital, I decided to give this movie a go, and I will say that I do remember critics giving this movie a bashing in a negative light when this first got released, and now I can understand why. The Exorcism can easily be seen as the Pope's Exorcist 2, but it's not, and yes, there is a sequel to the Pope's Exorcist in the works currently as we speak, but the Pope's Exorcist was released back in 2023, and I will say that it was slightly better than what this Exorcism movie had to offer. Similar to the Pope's Exorcist though, Russell Crowe stars in this movie as the Exorcist, I guess you could say, or at this point, as the priest. Once again, another horror movie that delves into some sort of exorcism or religious horror, I guess you could say, but I will say that despite the issues that the film does have, Russell Crowe does his best here with what he is given and does do his best with the performance. While the cinematography in here is decent and there are some nice overhead shots at the beginning of the film of the city that the movie is set in, and while the premise behind the film seems to be a good idea, I feel as though the execution on screen behind the premise of the movie does fall rather flat. Unfortunately, the script/dialogue is rather clunky in places, to be honest, and there are a few jump scares, which I will admit, the first couple of times, I hate to admit it, but they did get me. But after a while, though, the jump scares in this movie just became rather tired and overused as well. Is this a movie I would recommend horror fans to watch? Sadly, I don't think so. As mentioned earlier in this review, I think I prefer the Pope's Exorcist over the Exorcism 2024. As that one seemed to have a bit more going on in that film than this, where it was more slow paced, and by the time we get to the third act of the film it just becomes more of a mess and quite silly in places as well. And is this a movie I think I will revisit and rewatch again in the future? Sadly, I don't think so. However though, I'll be happy to see Russell Crowe continue the role in the Pope's Exorcist 2 when that does eventually get released. But the Exorcism 2024 is available to buy and rent on digital platforms and is also streaming over on the horror streaming service Shudder right now.
Thelma.
Thelma, I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. Thelma Post is a 93-year-old grandmother who loses $10,000 to a con artist on the phone. With help from a friend and his motorized scooter, she soon embarks on a treacherous journey across LA to reclaim what was taken from her. Thelma is another movie that was released earlier this year in 2024 that had a very limited theatrical run, and sadly I missed out on the opportunity to see this in cinemas, so I have now given this movie a watch now that it's on digital platforms. So what did I think of Thelma? Thelma is a feel-good, hilarious comedy movie, and I did find the comedy to be rather decent and the movie to be rather well paced for the running time that it had. The running time for Thelma did clock in at 1 hour and 39 minutes, and for me, it didn't outstay its welcome at all. It needed to tell the story that it wanted to tell in that running time, and I thought genuinely the film was rather good. Thelma does star Malcolm McDowell, Bunny Levine, Parker Posey, June Squibb, Richard Roundtree and Fred Hetchinger, and I did think their performances in this movie were rather decent, and they did a great job with the roles that they were given and the script/dialogue that they were given as well. Is Thelma a movie worth checking out if you are into your action or comedy movie, or if you're into both genres blended together? Then sure, give this one a watch, because there are some comedic laugh out loud moments in here with a mixture of action to go alongside the humour. And is Thelma a movie I can see myself revisiting and rewatching in the future? I do reckon so. I think this is a movie I would happily go back and revisit again sometime in the future. But Thelma is now available to buy and rent on digital platforms.
Being John Malkovich.
Being John Malkovich, I gave 3.5 stars over on Letterboxd. A puppeteer takes up a job to support his family. While working late one night, he finds a portal that leads directly to the head of the Hollywood actor John Malkovich. So I remember at some point during the COVID pandemic, it might have been around late 2021 or even as far as early 2022, I actually got a message from a friend who recommended me to watch this movie, and I believe I actually rented this movie on Amazon. Anyways, this friend told me that this movie was rather absurd and rather bizarre as well, and it's safe to say when I first watched this movie back then, I definitely did find this film to be rather funny, and also downright really weird. Like, it's almost as though the person who did this movie had some sort of fan fiction of John Malkovich, where everyone became obsessed becoming him, as there is this secret door or secret passage/portal that allows people to experience what John Malkovich sees through his own eyes in the space of 15 minutes. It's almost like a ride at a theme park or something bizarre / crazy like that. But nevertheless though, this movie is real and it actually does exist. I decided to give this movie another rewatch though because of how weird and bizarre this film is. Also because of the fact that I've never reviewed or spoken about this film or logged this film for Letterboxd either, so there is that as well. Being John Malkovich does indeed have its comedic moments as well as its very weird and very bizarre moments of the film. It was released all the way back in 1999. The film does feel like a movie you would have found in the 90s for sure, but it does make you think though, why John Malkovich? Why not any other actor, actress or singer for that matter? I happen to only know John Malkovich though through one movie that I used to watch all the time, it felt as though, when I was back in secondary school, which was this movie called Of Mice and Men. He played the character of George in the movie, but every time I had an English lesson back in school, of course, we watched the movie, and it does get a little nod or reference in this movie as well. But now I will always remember John Malkovich for playing himself in this movie as well. What's also weird about this is John Malkovich finds out about this portal / secret door that is kept inside this rather weird office space where it's a floor titled 7.5, and the ceilings are really low to the point every character has to crouch down and walk around the office because the ceilings are so low. But it's understandable that John Malkovich himself is not happy when he finds out that these people are making a profit out of this portal, which allows people to look through the eyes of him and basically be a part of him. One character in particular, as mentioned in the synopsis of the film, called Greg. He is a puppeteer, and a failed one for that matter. He is the first to discover this portal or secret door, and he doesn't realise this at first until later on in the movie, but he can basically be in control of John Malkovich. He can move his arms and his legs and take control of what John Malkovich says as well, almost like as if John himself becomes the puppet. And I do think when we do start to see that, that's when the story itself does become quite interesting. It allows Greg to basically follow his dream through another person to be that successful puppeteer. Going back to earlier when I said about John discovering this portal / secret door himself, they do such a comedic element in the film once he's inside the portal, which I won't go further into in case you want to see this movie for yourself and don't want the movie to be spoiled as it might already be coming across in this review for the film. But you've also got these other characters in the film, Lottie and Maxine as well. While Greg starts to have feelings for his work colleague Maxine, it turns out that Maxine actually has feelings for Lottie, who is actually starting to question her own sexuality herself once she starts going inside the portal into John's head as well. So there is a few complications in terms of a relationship between Greg and Lottie. After a while, it does make you wonder, what's the real reason there's this random portal in an office space which takes you into the mind and the eyes of a well-known actor? Why are we here watching this movie? And does it get explained towards the end what the real reason behind this story is? And I think it's told in a rather fitting way. The movie has a running time of 1 hour and 48 minutes, and for me, it doesn't outstay its welcome at all. It does feel as though the opening act does have a more slow burn pace, but once we get into the portal scenes, though, that's when the movie becomes quite the standout and also becomes quite weird, quirky, and also rather bizarre at times, which I've mentioned quite a bit in this review for the movie, if you can't tell already. Would I recommend people to give being John Malkovich a go? I definitely would, to be honest, because of just how weird it actually is. When I first watched this, I just remember being so lost for words after watching it, because I literally said to myself, what the hell was this that I have just watched? Why did someone recommend me to watch the most weirdest film I have ever seen to date? But at the same time, though, it is worth a watch for sure, because it does stand out for the quirkiness and some of the silliness behind the film as well. And do I think I will ever resist this film for a third time? I do think I would revisit this film again at some point in the future, because it's definitely one to revisit and remember seeing from time to time. Being John Malkovich is available to buy and rent on digital platforms. It was also, at the time of doing this review, available to watch as part of Amazon Prime Video's subscription here in the UK, but it only had a limited time before it was taken away from the subscription service on Prime Video here in the UK. However, though, it's also available to stream on Now TV here in the UK as well.
That Christmas,
I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. A blizzard hits a seaside town, setting off entwined tales of family, friends, love and loneliness, and Santa making a big mistake. That Christmas was recently released over on Netflix and is a brand new Christmas movie for 2024. So what did I think of That Christmas? I'm going to be honest, it was a semi-decent movie. It was worth the 3 stars for sure. That Christmas does have some British talent lending their voices in this new animated Christmas film. Jodie Whittaker, Bill Nighy, Brian Cox, Jordan North and Dermot O'Leary all lend their voices in this animated movie. And while not all the stories gel well together in this film, but this does certainly give you those festive feelings and gets you into the festive vibe for the holiday season. The movie does have a running time of 1 hour and 36 minutes, and I will say that this is definitely a movie mostly aimed at a younger audience. However though, I do feel as though it's a feel-good holiday fun movie that all the family can sit down and watch. Is That Christmas a movie I would recommend people to watch over the holiday season? For sure it is. It's cute, it's sweet, and the animation in this is also rather decent as well. And is this a film that I can see myself watching again, maybe next Christmas? I think this is a movie I would definitely add to my annual Christmas watch list for sure. But That Christmas is now streaming over on Netflix globally.
Our Little Secrets.
Our Little Secret, I gave 2 stars over on Letterboxd after discovering their significant others are siblings. 2 resentful exes must spend Christmas under one roof while hiding their romantic history. I don't know why, but I somewhat feel as though I have seen this plot be behind the film being done before in a Christmas movie. I'm not sure though, because there has been Christmas movies where exes have been involved, and the movies with those kind of plot lines have been absolutely terrible, if I'm honest. So how did Our Little Secret hold up? It was slightly better in my opinion than those holiday rom-coms we have seen in the past. There was a part of me that thought that this was going to be one of those cheap Hallmark romance style holiday movies you'd find on the Hallmark channel, but the acting in this seemed to be rather decent. Lindsay Lohan is no stranger to a holiday rom-com on Netflix, as she did appear in a festive movie for Netflix a few years ago titled Falling for Christmas, which got released back in 2022, and I can't remember whether I've seen that movie before or not. But that being said though, Our Little Secret does also star Ian Harding, John Rudnitsky, Chris Parnell, Jake Brennan, Tim Meadows, Ash Santos and Judy Reyes. The movie does have a running time total of 1 hour and 41 minutes, and for me, I did think this was a decent watch. The acting, well, wasn't exactly perfect, but it was rather watchable, and as a festive movie as a whole, I did think that this was a rather watchable holiday movie as well. There was some decent comedy elements in here that I did snigger at times. As for the opening title sequence, though, that was such a wild opening title sequence. For those who've already seen the movie, you'll know what I mean. For those who haven't seen it, you'll know what I mean when you see this movie for yourself. Is this a holiday romance movie I would recommend during the holiday season? For sure, it is somewhat decent, although again, going into this film, I can't help but feel as though this plot or premise has been done before. And is this a movie I can see myself watching and adding to the annual Christmas watch list each year? I do think so. Again, a decent movie that I think could be added to the Christmas watch list each year. Our Little Secret is now streaming worldwide over on Netflix.
The Merry Gentleman.
Merry Gentleman, I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. To save her parents' small town nightclub, a Broadway dancer stages an all-male Christmas-themed review and meets a guy with all the right moves. I'll be honest, the film was half decent. I will give Netflix this piece of credit because based on the trailers for their Christmas films, as I have mentioned in previous reviews of their Christmas films they've released so far this year in 2024, this Christmas film, based on the trailer, did look like something straight out of a Hallmark holiday romance movie. However though, and I don't know why, but there was something about this movie that kept me intrigued and interested in watching it. And no, it wasn't the shirtless men, by the way, because yes, there are some stripper dudes in this Christmas movie. Those scenes didn't interest me, but I think it's just more the case that I was just rooting for the main characters in this film, Luke and Ashley, to get together in the end. Do they end up being together? Well, that question does get answered at the end of the film, and I won't reveal the answer to that question because of spoilers. I did just mention in this review there are some stripper dudes, shirtless men, whatever you want to call it. They do appear in this Christmas movie, and for me it almost felt like I was watching Magic Mike, a film I've never seen before and have no desire to watch either. But this actually felt more like Magic Mike if I had ordered that movie on Wish, and it was also set at around Christmas time. I will say though that I can appreciate the film for the set designs, especially as they're all mostly decorated in Christmas decorations, and it just makes the sets look all cozy and lovely and very festive as well. The film does come with a total running time of 1 hour and 27 minutes, so it doesn't outstay its welcome, and I also do appreciate the fact we get a blooper reel as the credits roll towards the end of the film, so we can see that the cast involved in this film did enjoy their time on set filming this holiday romance movie. The cast members in this film include Chad Michael Murray, Britt Robertson, Marla Sokoloff, Maxwell Collifield, Michael Gross, Mark Anthony Samuel, and Maria Canals Barrera. You know, the actress that plays the mother, Teresa Russo, in Disney's Wizards of Waverly Place, which, I must also add, the actress clearly hasn't changed or aged at all since that show ended. She looks exactly the same as she did when she starred in that show in the late 2000s. Is this a movie that I would recommend? Well, for those looking for a movie with shirtless men, mostly the ladies, they may enjoy this one, and for those who are looking for a holiday romance film to watch over the holiday season, then sure, give this movie a go. And is this a movie I would add to my annual Christmas watch list to watch next year and going forward? I'm afraid not. For me, this movie was a film I would watch the once and once only. But The Merry Gentleman is now streaming over on Netflix worldwide.
Joy, the birth of IVF.
Joy, the birth of IVF, I gave 3.5 stars over on Letterboxd. A young nurse, a visionary scientist, and an innovative surgeon faces opposition from the church, state, media, and medical establishment in their pursuit of the world's first test tube baby, Louise Joy Brown. A British drama looking at the history of IVF, the creation of IVF, the science behind IVF, and this is done in a very captivating way, I thought. A very important story that needed to be told, a very important topic that we don't often see in movies or TV shows, so it's good to know that this film focuses and shines a light on this topic / subject, as many women, many couples do go through IVF treatment, as unfortunately there are women out there who are unable to conceive naturally, and to have the best chances of getting pregnant is through the use of IVF treatment. I will say that this British drama film was absolutely amazing, and with rather stunning performances throughout the total running time of 1 hour and 55 minutes, as the movie does star Bill Nighy, James Norton, Joanna Scanlon, Ruth Madeley, Charlie Murphy, Louise Murphy, and Thomasin McKenzie as well. And I will say that Thomasin McKenzie absolutely owned the spotlight in this film as she played the main lead. Her character is born into a religious family, and there is that slight topic that comes up between her and her mother about the use of IVF and how the religion doesn't accept the idea of IVF, similar to their opinions on abortion as well. But genuinely though, going back to the film, and I really did think this was a rather important story to tell, and it did handle the story in a delicate and sensitive way. A lot of research had been done before this film was made possible, and I think this does show that the research and effort had gone into the film before it was made. I'm not normally one to sit down and watch a drama or watch a British drama, but I saw that this was recently released over on Netflix, so decided to give this one a watch. And I tell you what guys, this is definitely a movie that is worth watching for sure. So is this a movie I would recommend people to add to their watch list and give this film a watch? For sure it is. You'll learn about the science behind IVF, how it came about and what happens to the characters involved in the IVF treatment, and you'll also get to see some legendary British stars shine in their performances as well. Would this also be a film I would happily go back and revisit again sometime in the future? For sure it would be, as I did enjoy watching this movie. Joy, The Birth of IVF is now available to stream over on Netflix globally.
Spellbound.
So Spellbound I gave 3 stars over on Letterboxd. When a powerful spell turns her parents into giant monsters, a teenage princess must journey into the wild to reverse the curse before it's too late. A movie that recently came out on Netflix in the last few weeks, Spellbound is an animated movie which actually was made from the same people that brought us Toy Story. So how did I feel when I watched Spellbound over on Netflix? I actually quite enjoyed this movie. I think this movie kind of felt more aimed at a slightly more younger audience, but nevertheless though, I still think this movie will be fine and fun for all the family to watch. The animation in this film was rather decent as well. That being said, I did think this when I first saw the trailer a few weeks ago, but there was some songs in here. I don't think they're going to be memorable songs, but the movie does open with a song, and the songs are spread out throughout the entire running time of the film. Speaking of running time, the film does have a total running time of 1 hour and 46 minutes, which for me was totally fine. It needed to tell the story, which it did within its running time, and for me it didn't really outstay its welcome as such. The casting in this was also really decent, with Rachel Zegler, Nicole Kidman, John Lithgow and Nathan Lane all lending their voices in this animated movie, and I thought that their performances in this were also rather decent. Is this a movie I would recommend? Well, it isn't a holiday movie, but I would still recommend giving this one a watch for all the family to see over the Christmas period for sure, because even more so the kids are going to love this movie. It's colourful, it's vibrant and fun, and there's that bit of escapism in here as well. And is this a movie that I would happily rewatch again? I do reckon so, to be honest. It was for me a fun time and a decent watch. Spellbound is now streaming worldwide over on Netflix.
A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter.
A Nonsense Christmas with Sabrina Carpenter. I haven't rated this movie, or special, whatever you want to call it. I haven't given it a star rating over on Letterboxd. This is probably the first time ever I have reviewed something for Letterboxd and not given it a rating, and I'll tell you why. Because this is Sabrina Carpenter. Now, she has spent a lot of 2024 dominating the charts around the world, particularly here in the UK. She's been dominating the charts all throughout the summer. She's been doing tours, and I have seen numerous amounts of videos of her touring online as well, and she does some, shall we say, X-rated positions on stage during one song, which I find absolutely revolting and ridiculous, particularly as there's young children in the audience. I know this has nothing to do with this special, but I just had to get that out there and off my chest. But it just seems as though every single day Sabrina Carpenter appears either on the radio or on my social media feed. Wherever I go, I just can't seem to escape her. Now, I do believe she used to be an actress, probably for Disney Channel. I don't know. I haven't seen a single Disney show in years. But she's now a singer, and apparently she's working late because of it. But she's now done a Netflix special on Netflix, a holiday special. A music comedy holiday special with special guests. Half of the guests, by the way, I had no idea who they were, what they did. I just didn't know them. The only people I knew was Chappelle Roan, Sean Astin, Cara Delevingne, and Shania Twain. The rest of them, I had no clue who on earth they were. Sabrina admits during this Netflix special that apparently she had an unlimited budget from Netflix, which means she could break a piece of the set. Could she not afford more well-known faces to appear in this special instead? This genuinely felt like I was watching a Saturday Night Live show that broadcasts in America, because while they did have some music from Sabrina and a so-called celebrity, but they also did some sketches in this, which, by the way, during those sketches, I think the last of my dead brain cells had officially just died at that point, because those sketches were honestly just rotting my brain even more. I guess it wasn't all doom and gloom, because I'll be honest here, Sabrina does have a decent singing voice, and when it comes to her singing, I genuinely do think she's a great singer. But it's just the fact that the outfit she wears for someone who is slightly younger than me, it's just too sexualized, if I'm being honest, and sometimes she makes these comments which refer to something sexual, and it just gives me the ick, if I'm honest. Is this a holiday special that I will definitely watch again? I don't think so, to be honest, because after seeing that, my brain had officially died watching this. Don't even know how on earth I'm doing this review either. And is this worth the watch? Sure, if you're a Sabrina Carpenter stan, then I'd say give this one a watch. If you love her music, then give this a watch. But if you're not a fan of hers and don't like her music, then I've saved you the bother of watching this by seeing this for myself and reviewing it. Also, this holiday special, thankfully for me, wasn't too long, as it clocked in at 50 minutes, which was fine. If it was over 1 hour and 30 minutes like your bog standard movie, then I think I would have tapped out a long time ago. But saying that though, I'll also be honest here, those were the longest 50 minutes of my life. I just couldn't wait for it to end. Anyway, Sabrina Carpenter, a nonsense holiday special, is now streaming worldwide over on Netflix.
Jack in Time for Christmas.
And finally, this week, I watched Jack in Time for Christmas, which I gave 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. Jack Whitehall races against time to get from the US to the UK for Christmas. His frantic 4-day journey involves various modes of transport and encounters with celebrity friends as he battles holiday chaos to reach home. Jack in Time for Christmas is another holiday special that has been released in 2024. And this time it's streaming over on Amazon Prime Video. I have seen Jack Whitehall before do comedy specials, and while I don't really think Jack Whitehall is at all rather funny, I didn't think this was rather funny either. It's about Jack Whitehall literally going from America to the UK and trying to get back home in time for Christmas. What else can I say? He does get some help from celebs that I do recognise, in the form of Jimmy Fallon, Dave Bautista and Michael Bublé. I will say the first 5 minutes of this holiday special was quite funny, I would say. Like, there was a moment in this where genuinely I did laugh out loud over a scene that featured Michael Bublé, but other than that though, I didn't find the rest of this funny at all. If anything, I found this holiday special to be rather boring at times, and Jack Whitehall tried way too hard to make the special funny, but it just wasn't tickling any of my funny bones, unfortunately. Is this a holiday special I would recommend watching over the holiday period? If you're into comedy, maybe way over the top comedy, or if you're a fan of Jack Whitehall, then sure, maybe you'll enjoy this. If not, then I wouldn't recommend watching this at all. It does have a running time of 1 hour and 6 minutes though. I think either when it got to the part of Dave Bautista on the private jet plane with Jack Whitehall, or when Rebel Wilson came into this holiday special, was the moment I was kind of tapped out and became disinterested in this special. So do I think I'll be watching this again in the next holiday season? I definitely don't think I will, sadly. But Jack in Time for Christmas is now streaming over on Amazon Prime Video. I tell you what, right, call me brutal, call me like, I don't know, just call me brutal if you really want to, right, with those last 2 reviews that I did for the movie wrap-up in this week's episode. But when it does come to holiday specials, and we've seen it before, okay, and it's no surprise, holiday specials, they don't ever seem to work. Like, I am still waiting for the day that I actually come across a holiday special where it is genuinely brilliant, to the point where I could give it 5 stars on Letterboxd or whatnot, okay? Like, literally, I mean, even going back as early as probably the 80s, I think it was, when Star Wars did a holiday special, you know, that always gets blasted all the time by fans because it was so bad. You know, even to this day, like, people still remember that holiday special from, like, the 80s, and they still blast it because of how bad it was, okay? But listen, guys, those are the films and holiday specials, I guess you could say, that I have watched this week as part of my episode of the movie wrap-up. If you have enjoyed this week's episode of the movie wrap-up, feel free to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what films or holiday specials you guys have been watching, whether it's old, new, in cinemas, on streaming, VHS, Blu-ray, DVD. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys have been watching this past week. As always, really do appreciate, really do enjoy communicating with you guys in the comment section down below. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, you like the content, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. So your next episode on Steve Official's YouTube channel is coming up tomorrow, Monday the 9th of December 2024 at 4 PM UK time. It is my penultimate weekly vlog of 2024, and then of course I've got another episode coming up on Thursday the 12th of December, which is my final weekly vlog of 2024. That's going to be dropping at 9:30 PM UK time, by the way, and then from Friday the 13th of December right up until Christmas Eve, every night from 9:30 PM UK time, I'll be releasing an episode of 12 Days of Vlogmas. That series is back for 2024. And of course, your next movie wrap-up, by the way, is going to be coming up on Sunday next weekend as well, which is Sunday the 15th of December 2024. Again, that's going to be coming up at 4 PM UK time, so the usual 4 PM UK time drop. But from me though, for now, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, guys, and I shall see you guys again in my next YouTube video.